Hi everybody, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. So just a very quick video today on the topic that's on everybody's lips and hearts and minds, coronavirus. So obviously I'm no expert in coronavirus and I'm not, one of these super duper brainy scientists or medical officers. However, I just want to cover off coronavirus linking to vestibular disorder or vestibular migraine. So just firstly on coronavirus, so make sure you follow all the guidelines you've been given. So make sure you're washing your hands regularly for at least 20 seconds. If you've got symptoms, make sure you're isolating. Make sure those vulnerable people are isolating. So maybe your older mum and dad, maybe people who've got, heart conditions, whatever, make sure they're doing that and support them while they're doing that if you can. So get them supplies, keep in touch, keep Skyping them like I do with my mum and dad at the moment who are safely in isolation. And just also another tip I've seen from experts, from what they've been saying on TV shows, radio shows, is also try not to compare nations too much, because nations are at different stages of their infection, the pandemic spread, so they will have slightly different approaches in practice at any given time, because the pandemic's moving through society at different stages. So that's what I would say in terms of that. So coming back to the reality of vestibular. So I think there's two questions really about coronavirus and vestibular disorders or migraines. Is number one, am I more vulnerable to the horrible symptoms of coronavirus or of getting, actually hospitalized because I've got vestibular migraine? And two, is it the case that with vestibular migraine, can it actually, the corona infection actually trigger a vestibular migraine, if that makes sense? So question one, I kind of covered that a little bit in the previous video. I don't know, as I said, I'm no expert on coronavirus, so I don't know whether we are more vulnerable because we've got vestibular migraine to the horrible symptoms of coronavirus. I would say probably for the most part no, but with me, and as I've spoken about before, I do have a bit of a breathing issue now as a result of my vestibular migraine. So that might make me slightly higher risk, and obviously I do have an inhaler when I feel a bit tight in the old chest. So I would just say, if you are like me, just take extra precautions, just make sure you are social distancing and doing all the things that I've just run through there and what your government is advising. But I don't know, but just if in doubt, don't go out. That rhymes, doesn't it? So, and then the second question is, would getting coronavirus, even if it's just the mild form, which is what most of us will get, it will just be the mild form if we get it, will that trigger my vestibular disorder or vestibular migraine? So again, I'm no doctor, I don't know, something to speak to your doctor about, but my guess, my instinct would be it probably could, based on advice I have been given before by my vestibular physio and my ENT. So, and the reason for that is, once you've had a vestibular upset at some point in your life, it usually leaves that a little bit weaker. So I guess it's the same principle as if you've, broken your leg, and you might have a slight vulnerability for the rest of your life in terms of that leg might be slightly weak. And it's just the same for the vestibular system. So if you get a virus and then your body starts to fight that virus, so you get inflammation, that kind of thing, that might then trigger your weakness in your vestibular system. So I would expect that to be the case. It seems logical to me based on what I've been told. So again, I suppose that is a reason then to really follow the advice and guidelines and precautions that you've been told to follow if you are a vestibular disorder or migraine sufferer. So that's really it. It's just to kind of get those messages across, and also to say that, it's important that we still keep awareness of vestibular disorder ticking over during this time. So, for example, I flagged it up to a fairly well-known radio journalist here in the UK, and she actually did reply to my tweet, so that was really good. So actually, that starts to generate awareness of vestibular migraine, even at a time when people are pretty much obsessing about coronavirus, and in some cases rightly so. So I hope you're all feeling relatively calm and okay. As I said, it will pass. Nothing is permanent, things are just temporary, and we will get a handle on this, and the better times will come again. And we're obviously experiencing that as vestibular migraine sufferers, and we can help other people with that. As I said in my last video, we're used to having to put life on hold for a little bit, or having to stay indoors or whatever, and not do normal things or see our friends for a bit. So we've got experience in that, so we're mentally probably ready for that, and then also we can pass that experience and help on to other people who maybe have not had that in their lives before, which is probably quite a lot of people, to be honest. So we can advise them. I'm feeling relatively calm about all this. You know, as long as my mum and dad are safe, that's the main thing, and obviously my friends keep safe. But I'm feeling relatively calm. I'm fortunate enough that at the moment I'm still employed, and I've still got work to do. But I do understand how stressful and awful this must be for people who are self-employed or running businesses or doing jobs where they've been laid off temporarily. You know, I know quite a few people who work in, for example, catering or in the, you know, at pubs, in the drinks trade, and I really feel for them. But hopefully the measures that's certainly been put in the UK will help that, and we can restore the economy once the virus has died down. So there we go. As I said, just a quick one. I usually end my videos with "As you were, you'll be again." I think one final message I would say is that in times of stress, it's kind of good to try and take a step back and try and operate with that cool head. We need tongues for a stammering time, I think. So try to be cool, try to stay cool, educate yourself, but don't over panic yourself by constantly looking or listening to things about corona, because life does and will go on again, and this time will pass. So remember, as you were, you'll be again, and as we were, the world will be again. All right, take care, stay safe, bye.